Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. My name is Roland Bullivant from Silwood Technology. Just to let you know, this session is being recorded this afternoon, and we're pleased to have you all on. And our apologies for the problems we had last week. We were confronted with a sort of terminal broadband error that meant we couldn't really do the session at all. Anyway, so let's move on today, and the session's probably going to be about 40 minutes. If you have any questions during it, then please do ask them on the message tab, and we will endeavour to get back to you either at the end of the session or indeed during it. So let's move on. So the premise for today, the reason we're here, if you like, is application metadata, which is our lifeblood of Silwood Technology. We all know that it's how important it is in relation to information management projects of all kinds, in terms of being able to locate those tables and the parts of the application that you need for the task at hand with your project. The challenge with that, of course, is that these applications are often make it difficult to be able to find and use that information. It's held in not in the data, often not in the database. That useful, rich metadata is not in the database. It's difficult to find, difficult to understand, and the impact of not being able to find that, not having access to it quickly and easily whenever you need it, is that it can cause delays, it can cause projects to overrun or under-deliver, and in extreme cases it can cause projects to be terminated early, if you will, and not deliver anything at all. So what we're going to do today is talk a little bit more about that challenge, and then we're going to talk about how Sapphire offers and Silwood Technology offers an alternative approach, and that approach means that metadata is available, means that it can be used and utilized in projects to help you accelerate delivery of projects, to save time and money. And what we're hoping as an objective, if you will, is if you like what you hear today, then it will be, hopefully it could be the basis for a further conversation. And we also have a special offer for you at the end of the session as well, so stay tuned for that. So to put a little bit more meat on that early statement I made, that projects rely on good data, I don't think I'm saying anything controversial here, that if you don't have good data in your projects, or you don't have access to the database, or have access to the metadata, which comprises the underpinnings of your applications, then it's difficult to do a data warehouse project. It's difficult to do data wrangling. It's difficult to do master data. Any of these information management type projects rely on the project people, the project staff, having an understanding of where the data is that they need. And indeed, if you look at statistics about data warehouse projects, Gartner way back estimated that 50% of all data warehouse projects fail, mainly because of data quality and data issues, as well as obviously people changing the objectives of the project halfway through. But often those problems with accessing, understanding and finding the right data lead to projects overrunning or failing altogether. And there's been other studies since then that would bear out those figures as well. And our history, as I'll talk about it a bit in a little bit, is really that we've worked with SAP, Oracle, and Salesforce metadata, with the metadata in those packages, and a lot of the time those are the main packaged applications that people talk about when they talk about applications and packages for ERP and CRM and payroll or healthcare or whatever. They talk about those packages, but there is a very rich ecosystem of packaged applications that that exists outside of those three vendors, and they provide a huge amount of rich functionality, and very often they form part of the information ecosystem of your company, just as important or equally as important as your SAP, Oracle or Salesforce application. And so it's important to be able to, it's critical to be able to understand and find the metadata in those systems and be able to make use of it in exactly the same way that you would like to be able to do with SAP or Oracle. And I picked out a small selection of applications here. You may have one or two of those in your own organization. If you don't, I'm sure there's other packages that I've missed out on this word cloud. So the challenge, as we all know from packaged application metadata, is it tends to be complex. Most applications have quite a large data model. SAP is probably the largest with over 90,000 tables, but most packages will have several hundred or several thousand tables. And of course those applications are often customized to make them fit the exact business requirement that they've been implemented for. But the challenge is that in most cases, in our experience, the metadata, the rich metadata that makes up the tables, the logical names, the relationships, the parent-child tables, and all that other useful information that data professionals need is inaccessible because it's not in the relational database. You won't find it in the system catalog. And the other challenge, as borne out by a report recently by Philip Howard of Bloor Research, is that the vendors provide very little in the way of tools to enable data professionals to find this metadata, to find what they're looking for and make use of it. So people have to rely on the old traditional solutions of manual effort and a lot of trial and error trying to navigate these systems. Maybe perhaps looking at documentation, which may or may not be up to date and may or may not reflect the number of the number of customizations that have been made. They may resort to asking technical specialists, internal technical specialists, for information about the metadata, and that may or may not have a huge amount of value if the technical specialist doesn't quite understand the context in which the question is being asked. Often people will hire external consultants. One of our customers was hiring a number of consultants to help them with a data warehouse project. This was actually for an SAP implementation, but they had a number of consultants who had to go through the same learning process as their own professional people did. So it can mean a project goes into overspend quite quickly, and obviously there's a delay. And the other problem there is there's very little in the way of control. If the consultants leave once the project's finished, then you may have to start again and go and hire the same consultants or different ones and start again. The new way, or with the rise of the internet, people will now search the internet for data models for a particular application or a particular business component of an application, and of course that has its own risks in terms of quality and whether it actually matches the same version that you might have, for example, and obviously doesn't take into account your own customizations. Many customers use a sort of guesswork hypothesis testing approach, and that of course will work after a huge amount of time, but it doesn't really solve the problem of having access to this information when you need it, and without having to go to third parties. The last point there is connectors and templates, and many companies, many ETL, information management companies, and will say that they will say, yes, we connect to SAP, or we connect to Dynamics, or we connect to all sorts of different applications. The challenge there is that those connectors are typically just that. They're typically connectors. They have no intelligence built in terms of you being able to ask a question and say, well, I want to see which tables and related tables are relevant for sales orders or for bill of materials or something like that. There's very little intelligence or context built in. And if you go down a template approach to look at well, how can we connect using these templates, then the challenge there is whether the template that's being used actually reflects the application with the same version that you have. Obviously will not reflect your customizations, and may not actually reflect the business area that you're focusing on at the time, as they tend to be quite limited. People have tried to reverse engineer application databases with modeling tools to a point that you could suggest that would work, in that a modeling tool will reverse engineer a database, but without the logical information, without the information about parent-child tables, you're just going to get a number of islands of information. And I defy anyone who doesn't know what these tables actually are to be able to decipher them in any meaningful way. And of course, most applications have lots of tables, so all that you're doing is compounding the problem. The challenge as well is that if a modeling tool typically would struggle with models of over hundreds or thousands of tables, and be very difficult to navigate and very difficult to understand. So the impact of all that is late delivery of benefits, so long time to value of information management projects, and cost overrun, delays and backlogs. And of all those challenges that we hear most often, the one at the bottom one, business losing faith in the ability of IT or the data professionals to deliver what they've committed to deliver, is the one that seems to be the most challenging and the most important, in terms of now that data is becoming even more important than it ever used to be. The business needs access to information. They need to know that their information systems are delivering exactly what they're expecting. So I don't know, from the people on the call today, hopefully some of you have heard of Sapphire, our product, which is, as far as we're aware, the only dedicated solution for application metadata discovery. And the reason that we exist, if you will, is to help you shorten your time to value of delivery, or shorten time to delivery of these projects, by helping you understand where you can look at data and reduce the cost of this source data discovery. And because Sapphire works, as you'll see in a short while, with the metadata as implemented at your site or at a customer site, it helps to improve the accuracy and improve the faith that the business has in the data. So what Sapphire does, or how we do that, is that we put the data professionals in control. There's no need with Sapphire to hire external consultants or bother technical specialists, or to try to find documentation. Sapphire, in a way, is a self-documenting solution for packaged application metadata. It allows, excuse me, it allows our users to find what they need when they need it, and most importantly, in the context of what they're looking for, without them having to know exactly where those tables and related tables might be. So it provides capabilities for them to do that without needing to know what they're looking for first. So our heritage, if you will, is that we've been in the business of metadata discovery for many years, originally focusing on SAP and Oracle applications, more recently Salesforce. It's a proven solution. The reason I've provided you with some customer reference logos there is to indicate that we're not a new bleeding edge of technology company. The product works, and it worked for a number of years, and it's trusted by these organizations to deliver exactly what it says on the tin. What does it do? So Sapphire extracts the metadata from an application as implemented. That means that we get all the customizations that have been made to the tables and the relationships. It then provides a very, very easy but rich set of functionality to allow users to search and filter and scope to find exactly what they want, to isolate the tables that they need, and then to be able to visualize that information either in our diagramming tool or in other data modeling tools, and to do have access to other functionality, for example, to compare partial or whole data models of applications. So if you were looking to rationalize or migrate information from one version of an application to another, we compare the those different sets of metadata to show the differences. And then we have a range of tools that we integrate with and send our information to, data modeling, metadata management, and other integration tools. So that's me done for the moment, and I'm just going to hand over to my colleague Nick Porter, who is going to take you through the rest of the session until we come back for questions at the end.
Thanks very much, Roland. This is Nick Porter here, and I've just got a couple more slides that I want to go through, and then we'll show you the product. As Roland said, traditionally we've done SAP, the Oracle applications, and more latterly Salesforce. And over the years, we've had a number of people say, we really like what you do for those environments, for example, our SAP system. Can you also apply that approach to our in-house package? And they'd normally then tell us some details of the package. And historically, we've always had to say no. You know, we only have this fixed set of interfaces to these large packages. So that's what instigated our development of what we call ETL for metadata. And this allows us, with a little bit of work, to address any package that's got a sufficient set of metadata in it. So there's kind of three requirements, if you like, for us being able to work for Sapphire to be able to work with one of these packages. Perhaps the first one is that there is meaningful metadata available in the source application. So by that, what we normally mean is that there is some kind of data dictionary layer in the application, some kind of definitions of the data structure, which is not the database system catalog. So if it was a case of just reverse engineering an RDBMS, then there's a whole set of products out there, things like Power Designer and O in EL Studio, which are great at reverse engineering from the system catalog. Where Sapphire can add value is by getting metadata from the data dictionary. And so first of all, there needs to be this meaningful data dictionary information, if you like, in the package to be addressed. The second one is that metadata is stored in some kind of relational database system, because we are using SQL, SQL to get at that information. And then the obvious third one is that we need to, or you need to have access to that system. You need to be able to establish a SQL connection to that database, either on-premise or in the cloud, in order to be able to get at the information stored. So this capability in Safyr, which we call ETL for metadata, it's a script-based approach to extracting, transforming, and loading information from this source package into the Sapphire repository. So what we've done is we've brought down to the minimum possible the areas which need to be coded, if you like, and I'm going to show you an example of that in just a second or two. It's very quick to develop, and of course once it's done, once you've done it for a particular package, then it's repeatable for any of the other instances of that package. So the example I'm going to show you in a minute is based upon Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and we developed that capability in one person in about 5 days to develop that capability using this ETL for metadata feature. And of course, once it's done, anybody who's got a Microsoft Dynamics system will be able to use that same approach to get the metadata into Sapphire. So again, a little bit more about the process then. Obviously, what we first of all have to do is look at the package and say which tables in the source system store the metadata we require. Which tables have got definitions of the tables, the attributes, the relationships, the indexes, all that other classic information about data that we require. And then we have to define query. Within the scripting language, we have to define queries to extract the metadata. And then there's some facilities to define mappings between those queries and the target Sapphire repository. You run the import metadata to test it, and pretty much that's pretty much it, what you have to do to address any particular package. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly show you the scripting language that we use. I'm not going to go through this in great detail. I'll just give you a flavor of what's involved. So this is the one that we developed for Microsoft Dynamics, as I mentioned earlier on, and hopefully you can see the scroll bar at the side there, and you get a sort of scale. We're not talking about a lot of code here. It's a couple of hundred lines of text, and as you probably also see from these comment lines here, quite a lot of those lines are actually comments. So at the beginning there's some stuff about how we address different languages within the source system, if the source system can support multiple languages. So we're mapping there the Sapphire language code to the language code of the source product. Then something similar for data typing. So this is here's a little table to map the Sapphire's own generic data typing features to the data typing of the package, in this case Microsoft Dynamics. And then we come down to the section here where you see section extract. This is where we define the queries for each of the objects we need to extract. So there's a select clause here for tables, there's a select clause here for fields, there's one for indexes, etc. So you're only talking there, you can see there's really just a few tens of lines of code. And then we've got a section down here about the transforms, how we transform the data that we've extracted and loaded into temporary tables, how we then transform that into the Sapphire repository structure. And that's pretty much all that's involved in doing it. It's not a difficult process to do, and then once you've done that, the way that you use that within Sapphire, I'm going to switch into Sapphire now, is very much like you do for the other packages. So there's an extract capability here, and that extract will actually run that script. Obviously, it's being tested first, and we run that script to do the extraction of metadata from, in this case, Dynamics. And then the rest of the features of the product are identical, really, as it would be for something else. So I'll show you the result of running that. Here is the result now in Sapphire of a Microsoft Dynamics system compared with something like SAP. It's tiny. You can probably see at the bottom there, there's only actually 271 tables in there. This is a pretty much a standard Dynamics system. It's just something that we use for development. But it's very common in a customer environment for Dynamics to be modified, and the customer will add their own tables and their own attributes and their own relationships. And of course, because we're extracting from the data dictionary of Dynamics, we would extract from the data dictionary of any package we address now with this capability, we'll get the customizations as well. So just like you could for any of the other environments that we support, we could do things like drill into a table. I'm looking at the account table here, and you can see the attributes. You can see any foreign keys. You'll also see, because it's supported by Dynamics, there is an attribute definition for each of the attributes that we pull out. I can look at the related tables, so I can see the parent and child related tables, in this case again for the account table, and I can make subject areas just like you can with any of the other packages. I could take the account, and I could take the parent related tables to account, make a subject area, and then I can export that using the Sapphire wizard. I can export it into any of the environments that we have an interface for. Just for speed, I'm going to do that into the built-in ER diagramming capability within Sapphire, just to kind of give you a flavor of what that looks like. And what I always say about this is you can spend 10 seconds making the model, and then like with any modeling tool, you then spend the rest of the day making it look nice. So I don't really want to dwell on this. It's just to give you a feeling for how quick it is to explore and then use the results of the metadata that we've reverse engineered. So I'm going to hand back to Roland now, who's going to just wrap up the session for us.
Thanks, Nick. And as Nick said, I've just got a couple more slides. This is, I particularly like this quote from Brian Farish when he was at AMD just after he'd started using Sapphire for SAP. And I think the second sentence, I'm really grieving for the lost years without access to this tool. I think that sentiment is reflected in a lot of people that we talk to who are using all sorts of different packages, that they're wasting an awful lot of time and effort and energy doing the sort of drudgery work of trying to find tables in their applications. And hopefully you've seen how Sapphire today can help you to move forward and to take a different approach to looking at the metadata in other packages that you might have in your organization beyond those from SAP, Oracle, and Salesforce. So we mentioned at the beginning that we have a time-limited offer for you. So what we'd like to do is to offer you the free, no obligation analysis of one of your application packages. And if we come to the conclusion jointly that that Sapphire would be able to extract that metadata and make it more accessible and easy for you to understand and navigate and use, then we will undertake to deliver the interface. So that scripting work that Nick showed you earlier, we will undertake to deliver that to you free of charge. So if you'd like to explore that with us, follow the link below. I'll send these slides out anyway after today. Have a look on the website, the silwoodtechnology.com Sapphire for other packages -offer. Contact us before the end of April, and we will move that forward with you. And hopefully some of you will take us up on that offer. So otherwise, anything else that you would like to do, if you'd like to book a call with us or arrange a demonstration, or indeed have a free trial of Sapphire, please go to the website. There you can do all of those things interactively at silwoodtechnology.com. So with that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and please do contact us if you'd like to take us up on that offer, or indeed ask us anything else about Sapphire. So thank you very much.